give us some thoughts and perspectives.
Yeah, I think in terms of oil prices, first 5 minutes, this is going to be interesting. I either speak really fast or talk about one thing. In terms of oil prices, you're giving me too much credit. I said I would be equally unsurprised by 180, because I learned a long time ago not to make short-term.
You were hedging.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago not to make short-term oil predictions because it is an extremely difficult market to forecast in the short term. Medium term, you can make some forecast. And in terms of what to expect for the next year, I mean, one of the things I have what I call the myths of Russian oil production, and I think the world tends to look too pessimistically at Russian oil. And I think one of the things we have to think about is not what is the price of oil globally, but what's the price of Russian oil? Urals. And if you go back to last spring of 2022, right after the whole Ukrainian crisis really accelerated, my view was I am very worried about the Russian gas business, the business model for Russian gas. I am not overly worried about the Russian oil business model over a medium term, say 5 years, because most of the problems that Russian oil was facing at the time were logistical and could be solved by a bit of time, application of capital, and normal market forces. And indeed, over the last year, that's really what we have seen. And very specifically talking about the price of Urals, we've seen the discount versus Brent had a maximum of like $43 per barrel. As of last week, it was down. It was a little volatile, but call it $10 to $12 per barrel. I think it will continue to come down. Inside of a couple of years, it'll probably be $5. Again, this is pure market forces. At $40 a barrel, the financial incentive for traders, oil sellers, oil buyers to meet in the market and get the Russian oil out was absolutely immense. Basically, you could justify the purchase of a near brand new super tanker to haul one load of oil from Russia to Asia. There was an $80 million ship, carries 2 million barrels at a $40 million discount. You just paid for it with one trip. That is obviously an insane level of incentive. And market forces have rearranged global trading now that it's become relatively and getting more efficient now that the trade routes have been reestablished. And so we fully expect the Russian discount to continue to decrease. It will never go back to $1 just because it will always be more expensive to ship to Asia than to Europe. But the excess profits in the trading market from that are going to continue to decrease. One other thing, I just ran across a comment last week, just on the web. It was another commentator from America, in an aside said Russian oil production is very expensive. This is one of those myths that I've been trying to address for years. Russian oil production is actually some of the cheapest in the world. Not the very cheapest, but it's very far down the cost curve. And what does this mean? It means that Russian oil production will continue. The only question is how do you divide up the profit, the excess profits, or the economic rents between the government and the companies. The government has historically taken 90 to 95% of the rents. The companies are left with 5, maybe 10. That's fine. That will continue in the future. Russian oil drilling. Russian oil production right now is probably 1 to 1.5 million barrels a day below capacity. I don't think this is generally understood in the West. Russia, with the encouragement of the government, the Russian oil companies are actively drilling to maintain that. Last year, despite the crisis, drilling went up 8%. First major gain we've had since 2017. We had 5 years of stagnation because of the OPEC Plus deal. This year, drilling is up 9%. These are huge increases. So, just from the point of view of what's going to happen in the Russian oil industry, I expect activity to stay high. The process of substituting foreign oilfield services companies for locally developed products continues. The dependency on foreign oilfield services companies was never as high as was made out in the press. Yes, they were used. They were maximum 20% of the market, but the fact that their services were being used did not mean that there were not Russian equivalents of that technology. just that it was economically at least somewhat more profitable to use the foreign alternative. It didn't mean the Russian alternative wasn't economically feasible. And I mean, really trying to shorten it down. That's one of the things.
That's the excellent. So production up this year, production up next year.
Those are political questions. That the capacity is up.
Oh, capacity is up. But you said drilling is up.
Yeah, drilling is up.
Drilling is up.
So the capacity is being maintained. How much will be produced is a question between Russia, Saudi Arabia,
And the OPEC Plus crew.
Yeah.
But so net for 2024, your forecast for the Russian oil industry is pretty positive. Its production capacity is good. Its ability to maintain the fields despite the exodus of Western companies is good. Price stability due to the OPEC Plus success looks pretty good. So 80 to 100 looks possible.
It looks possible, and let's not forget the ruble, because in ruble terms, the price of oil is even higher.
Higher.
So
It's a stimulus.
Purely the upstream business is very profitable right now. The downstream business, because of all the fuel market issues, is less so in the way the tax structure is set up. One final word. In December of this year, Novatek will launch the first train of Arctic LNG 2. This is the next phase, beginning of the next phase of growth for Russian LNG. And the company is absolutely positive that it has developed actually 3 different versions of its own LNG liquefaction technology. If this turns out to be true and they can start constructing their own world-class, world-scale LNG facilities over the next 2 to 3 years, it will be a major change in LNG.
Wow.
And it deliver a lot of independence to the Russian gas industry.
So the doom and gloom predictions have again proven not to be correct.
Yeah, the rumors of the death of Russian oil and gas have been great.
Slightly exaggerated, to paraphrase a great American author. Okay, well listen, I have to unfortunately say no questions at this stage because